Good day everyone, I am Michael, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone for today's webinar, which is the identification and quantification of low-level compounds for impurity and degradation analysis. I would now like to introduce our presenter for today, John Seifetzer. John Seifetzer has over 30 years of experience in HPLC method development. He has authored or co-authored over 50 peer-reviewed papers on liquid chromatography. He has served on the editorial advisory boards of Journal of Chromatography, Analytical Chemistry, and Analytical and Bioanalytical Chemistry. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, John.
Good day, everyone. Today's webinar is focusing on analytical issues when you do very low-level analyses. It will focus on pointers of why low-level analyses are very different from analysis that you might do for higher-level compounds. Some of the fundamental issues with doing trace level analysis are very different. Absolute quantitation may not be possible. That's because to do absolute accurate determination, you will need some kind of comparison of known value. This is a comparison of purity versus impurity analysis and how they differ. In accuracy, when you're doing a purity analysis, you have very high levels, typically in the upper 90% of some kind. Precision is also very high for high-level analyses. Selectivity for high purity analysis is usually very limited because you have such high levels that things like impurity interferences, the selectivity of the analysis, degradation is dependent on time, and that may be a sequential series of reactions. And so you have to be aware of timing, sample collection, storage, and those kinds of issues become very important because you want a true snapshot of something that's useful. Spectral library matching is something that people do. And one of the things that I've found in my auditing of laboratories or when I consult laboratories that are doing this kind of work is they use the software and basically they think it's just, press the button and everything comes out and it's fine. That doesn't take into account the way library matching works. Not all spectrometers are created equal. And that's why in validation, you have to do some of the things that I will get into more in detail. I've gone through most of the mass spec issues. These are just some things. Isomer similarities, mass spec is terrible at. Goodness of fit may be, I say 65. I've seen some where they actually say 50. It depends on how close you are to the limit of detection for your impurity. Verification is possible. You do not just rely on spectral matching. As I said, spectral matching is just point by point, and you may be missing some things, or you may have some structure that just unfortunately has very similar ion patterns. And you should do your qualitative analysis by some other approach. I'd like to thank everybody for their time and attention. Doing trace level analysis is a whole different world than doing bulk analysis or even regular types of analyses that you do for materials. The compounds are at very low levels. They can be very different from what you see at the high level, particularly in degradation analysis. So you need to do in your validation a lot more work in qualitative identification and identifying issues that make valid your qualitative and quantitative information. And if you do all those things, and I've given you some suggestions and points, then you should have a much better trace level analysis than what many of the laboratories out there are relying upon. And with that, good luck with your trace level analysis. And if you do have any questions, just send them in and they will be passed on to me, and I'll come back with any answers that may be useful.
Thank you, John. So that does conclude the session for today. Thank you everyone for participating. You may all disconnect now. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.